So let's talk about artificial intelligence in the classroom. It's this massive force that's set to completely change education. But is that a good thing? Is it this amazing new tool? Or is it, a Pandora's box of problems? Let's dive in and see what the research actually tells us. Okay, just think about this for a second. What if every single student had their own personal tutor? Someone available 24/7, ready to help whenever they get stuck. I mean, that's the big promise of AI in education, right? And you have to admit, that's a really powerful idea. All right, before we get too deep, let's get on the same page. What are we even talking about when we say AI in the classroom? Basically, it's about smart systems that can kind of replicate how our brains work. Entrusting machines with tricky tasks that humans used to do. Things like breaking down a tough math problem or even grading an essay. We're talking about machines that can learn and adapt. Okay, so first up, let's talk about the promise. And really, this is where it gets exciting. We're not just talking about some flashy tech gimmick. This is a real shot at building a learning environment that's way more effective and maybe even more fair for everyone. So the holy grail here, the biggest promise, is personalized learning. And AI tackles this with what you can think of as four main pillars. First, there's content adaptation. The material actually changes based on how well you're doing. Second, you get customized learning paths, so you can move at your own speed, not the class's. Third, continuous assessment. It's like a constant, gentle check-in to see if you're getting it. And fourth, and this one is huge, you get immediate feedback. No more waiting days to see if you got it right. And this leads to a really cool way of thinking about it. The goal here is absolutely not to replace teachers. No way. The idea is that AI should be like an exoskeleton. It's a tool that makes teachers stronger, right? It handles the boring, repetitive stuff, so teachers can focus on the things that only a human can do, like sparking creativity, teaching critical thinking, and making those real human connections with students. Now, I know this might all sound a little bit like sci-fi, but this isn't some far-off future. These kinds of AI tutors are already out there in the wild, and they're working surprisingly well. So let's look at some real-world examples of this stuff in action. All right, first stop, Georgia Tech. Picture this. You've got a huge master's-level AI class, and the teaching assistants are just getting buried under a mountain of questions. We're talking 10,000 messages a semester on the online forum. And as you can guess, a ton of them were the same basic questions over and over again. So what did they do? The professor built an AI teaching assistant and named her Jill Watson. They basically fed her all the questions and answers from past semesters, tens of thousands of them, and set her loose on the forum to handle the routine stuff. And here's the crazy part. She was so good, so convincingly human, that the students didn't even realize they weren't talking to a person. Wild, right? And this isn't just a one-off thing at Georgia Tech. Over at Harvard Business School, they tried something similar. Students in this really tough accounting class got access to a custom-built AI chatbot to help them get ready for exams. And what did the students think? Well, the feedback was fantastic. A whopping 85% said the AI tutor really made a positive difference in their learning. And you could see it in the data, too. Usage just went through the roof right before midterms and finals, exactly when they needed it most. And this is a perfect example of that exoskeleton idea we mentioned earlier. Think about it. Because the AI handled the basics, students showed up to class already prepared. This meant the professors could ditch the boring review and spend that precious class time on the really important deep dive discussions. It's a total game changer for how class time is used. It's not just for Q&A either. AI is making huge strides in teaching skills like writing. So there was this recent study on a tool called Fulb. Its whole job is to give students instant feedback on how well they summarize dense scientific texts. And that's a really, really tough skill to master. And the results? I mean, they speak for themselves. This graph here shows how often students were just copying words directly from the source. The group using the AI tool, that's the dashed line, you can see it shooting up, got way better at avoiding that. Just a massive improvement. And the other group, the solid line, they pretty much stayed the same. It's just clear proof that this kind of AI feedback really works for teaching complex skills. Okay, so we've seen the incredible promise, but it's not all sunshine and roses. Of course not. For every amazing opportunity, there's a potential pitfall. So to be fair, we have to flip the coin and look at the very real challenges and dangers of bringing AI into the classroom. So this table kind of breaks down the big hurdles. Under personalized learning, you've got some heavy hitters: privacy concerns, biased algorithms, and yeah, the high cost of this stuff. Then, with human-AI collaboration, you worry about students leaning on AI too much or teachers just not being trained to use it right. And then there's the whole bucket of ethical and technical stuff, data privacy again, the digital divide, and the fact that a lot of these AI models are like black boxes. We don't always know how they work. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Cheating. It's probably the first thing that pops into everyone's head, right? But the research suggests that instead of playing this endless game of cat and mouse, trying to catch students, maybe we should ask a deeper question. Why do students feel the need to cheat in the first place? And it turns out the reasons are usually bigger than just being lazy. Students often take shortcuts because they're crushed by anxiety about their grades, or they're struggling to meet impossible deadlines. Sometimes it's about not having the right tech or just not understanding what the heck the assignment is even asking for. So here's the key takeaway. AI didn't create the cheating problem, it just gave students a brand new, super powerful tool to deal with it. And this really leads us to what might be the single biggest danger of all, equity. Let's be real, these amazing AI tools aren't free. They cost money and they need good computers and fast internet. And if we're not super careful, we could create a world where AI only helps the students who already have advantages, while leaving everyone else even further behind. That's a huge risk. So, with all these challenges on the table, what do? Just give up? Well, no. The experts say the answer isn't to run away from the tech. It's to completely rethink our educational playbook for the age of AI. This new playbook is all about a major shift in focus. We need to move away from grading just the final product, the big essay that an AI can write in 30 seconds. Instead, we need to focus on the process. We need to look at the journey, the brainstorming, the messy first draft, the revisions, the aha moments. That's where the real learning happens. So what does that actually look like in practice? Well, take a writing assignment. Instead of just saying, write a 10-page paper, you scaffold it. Think of it like building a house. You don't just put up the roof, you build it piece by piece. You start with some in-class writing, then they submit a thesis, then an outline, they get feedback from classmates. You see, each one of those steps forces the student to actually engage and show their thinking. It makes the process visible, and that's something an AI just can't fake. And you can get really creative with this. You can have students connect what they're learning to their own life or to something that's happening in the news right now. You can have them draw concept maps to show how ideas link together, or here's a great one, have them record a quick audio clip or a video just talking through their process. All of these things demand real, authentic human thought. Look, at the end of the day, AI is here to stay. This isn't some fad we can just ignore until it goes away. So the real question for us isn't how do we stop it, but how do we build with it? We're writing the new rules for education as we go. And the challenge for every teacher, every student, every parent is, how are we going to design the future of learning? How do we use this incredible technology to make education not just smarter, but actually more human?